Welcome back, everybody. Today we're taking a deep dive into Norman Vincent Peale's The Power of Positive Thinking.
Oh, yeah.
We are going to try to extract the most powerful ideas and techniques from this book
Affirmations.
and explore how faith and positive thinking can be applied in your life,
Right.
whether it's for personal growth, problem solving, or even healing.
Yeah, this book is fascinating because it's so practical.
Right.
It's not, like some dense philosophical text.
Yeah.
It's a guide. It's filled with stories, real-life examples.
Mm-hmm.
Peale was so passionate about these principles, and he truly believed anyone could use them
Yeah.
to live a more fulfilling and successful life.
Okay, so let's jump right in.
Okay.
The book starts with this really powerful message about believing in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Peale says that believing in yourself and having faith in your abilities
Yeah.
is like the foundation for success and happiness.
He has this great anecdote about a businessman
Okay.
who was completely riddled with self-doubt right before a crucial deal.
Oh.
Like, this guy is basically paralyzed by insecurity.
Oh, man.
So what is Peele's solution?
Yeah.
Replace that self-doubt with faith.
Okay.
He suggests things like prayer, studying the Bible, and even carrying around cards with scripture on them
Wow.
to combat negative thoughts.
It's like that story about the salesman who used scripture cards in his car.
Oh, yeah.
What a cool way to turn your commute into a positive affirmation session.
Right.
But it's not just about blind faith, is it?
No, not at all.
Peale also talks about the importance of recognizing and appreciating your own strength and assets.
Exactly. It's about shifting your perspective.
Yeah.
Instead of focusing on what you lack,
Right.
you focus on what you're good at.
Yeah.
Peale actually outlines 10 rules for overcoming inadequacy and building self-confidence.
10 rules.
I know it's a lot.
That sounds pretty comprehensive.
It is. But I think of all of them, the one that really sticks out to me is the power of visualization.
Oh, yeah.
He talks about how vividly picturing yourself succeeding can actually make your mind believe it's possible.
Right.
And that boosts your confidence.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried this?
Oh, absolutely. I remember when I was first starting out as
Let's move on to this idea of a peaceful mind.
Okay.
Peale says that a peaceful mind is crucial for generating power.
That's interesting.
Yeah, you wouldn't necessarily connect those two things right away.
No, not at all.
He uses this really relatable example of a man who can't sleep because he's bombarded by negative news reports.
Right.
It just highlights how easy it is for our minds to just get cluttered with anxiety.
Yeah.
So what does Peale suggest?
Yeah. What does he say?
He says, find peace in God.
Okay.
That's the way to overcome this.
So he tells that incredible story about praying over the telephone with a man who's in total desperation. It really shows how accessible prayer can be as a way to find inner peace, even in unconventional ways.
And what I find interesting is Peele's emphasis on specific techniques for emptying the mind and replacing those worries with more peaceful thoughts.
Okay.
He talks about visualization, using calming words, and meditating on scripture.
So it's almost like mental decluttering.
Exactly.
Getting rid of the junk and making space for better things.
Yes, and he even talks about finding peace in nature.
Okay.
He shares this personal story about deliberately slowing down to really appreciate a beautiful view.
Yeah.
A great reminder for all of us.
Especially in today's fast-paced world, we often miss the beauty and tranquility around us.
Yeah.
I know I'm definitely guilty of that sometimes.
He wants us to be more mindful,
Right.
more present,
Yeah.
and find those pockets of peace in nature.
Mhm.
It can make such a difference in our overall well-being.
Okay, so we're building belief in ourselves. We're
Right.
cultivating a peaceful mind.
Right.
Where does energy fit into all of this?
Well, Peale argues that maintaining energy is directly linked to positive thinking.
Okay.
He tells a story about a baseball pitcher who draws strength from a single powerful thought. It really highlights that connection between your mind and your body.
So if you're constantly telling yourself you're tired, your body's going to believe it.
Pretty much. But if you tap into that boundless power of faith,
Okay.
he believes you can access a deeper well of energy.
It's like that public speaker Peale describes.
Yes.
Who just radiates energy despite the demands of his profession.
Right.
What's his secret?
Peale's big takeaway here is that if we tap into the right mindset, we can push past fatigue
Okay.
and maintain a higher level of energy.
So it's not about willpower alone.
No, it's about something deeper.
Okay.
It's about aligning yourself with what Peale calls a divine tempo.
Mm-hmm.
It's about finding a natural rhythm in your work, spending time in nature,
Okay.
and not overexerting yourself.
Yeah.
It's about staying in sync with a larger flow of energy.
Now, this next part really hits home for me.
Okay.
Peale says happiness is a choice.
Interesting.
He uses these two contrasting examples.
Okay.
An unhappy woman on a train.
Okay.
And a joyful man with a contagious smile.
So it's such a clear reminder that our mindset shapes our experience.
Yes.
If we dwell on the negatives, we only make ourselves more unhappy.
Yeah.
So what's Peele's advice?
Yeah, what does he say?
Choose happiness by consciously focusing on the positive.
I love that story about the little girl who was just happy.
Yeah.
Finding joy in the simplest things.
So pure.
It's so pure and reminds us that happiness can be found in the present moment.
Peale gives some concrete tips for cultivating happiness.
Okay.
Practicing love and goodwill, starting each day with positive affirmations, surrounding yourself with positive influences, and of course finding strength through faith.
And he tells a really touching anecdote about a woman who finds happiness through prayer.
Yes.
After experiencing a terrible tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a testament to the power of faith to help us overcome even the deepest grief.
And what's powerful is that faith isn't just about abstract beliefs.
Right.
It's a practical tool for navigating the ups and downs of life and finding joy even in the midst of difficulty.
Yeah, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So we've talked about building belief, cultivating a peaceful mind, and choosing happiness.
Right.
But what about those times when worry and fear creep in?
Yeah.
Peale doesn't shy away from these emotions.
No.
But he firmly believes that we can overcome fear by mastering faith.
And he gives us this step-by-step process for eliminating worry.
Yeah.
It's almost like a mental fitness plan.
I like that analogy. So instead of saying, don't worry,
Right.
Peale provides actual techniques to work those mental muscles.
Exactly. He starts with daily mind emptying.
Okay.
Like visualizing yourself releasing all those anxieties. It's like taking out the mental trash.
Right.
Then you fill that space with faith.
Okay.
Using positive affirmations in Scripture.
He suggests tackling those smaller worries first to build up your confidence and then gradually taking on the bigger fears. It's like starting with lighter weights at the gym before moving on to the heavy lifting.
I love that. And he shares this great story about a businessman who gave his worries to God every evening. It's such a simple yet powerful image of letting go of those daily burdens.
That really resonates with me.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that we don't have to carry everything on our own shoulders.
But Peale doesn't stop at just letting go.
Right.
He also talks about addressing the root causes of worry.
Okay.
Those negative thought patterns that fuel our anxieties.
It's like weeding a garden. You can't just keep trimming the tops. You have to get to the roots.
Exactly. It's not enough to just suppress worry. You have to actively replace those thoughts.
Yeah.
With positive affirmations and faith-based statements.
Okay.
It's about retraining your mind to focus on solutions instead of dwelling on the problems.
Peale takes this idea of faith even further.
Okay.
He doesn't just see it as a religious concept, but as something that can be applied to personal growth and problem solving in any area of life. He uses the example of a businessman whose faith literally saved his failing business.
Oh, wow.
It's a powerful illustration of how belief can create real, tangible results.
Peale really stresses the importance of expecting the best.
Okay.
As a way to set the stage for positive outcomes. It's about believing in the possibility of success.
Right.
Even when things look bleak.
He also introduces this concept of mustard seed faith.
Oh, yeah.
The idea that even a tiny amount of faith can create big results.
Right.
For people who are new to this concept. It basically comes from a parable in the Bible.
Right.
Where Jesus compares faith to a mustard seed, the smallest of all seeds, which grows into a large tree.
It's encouraging because it means you don't need to have absolute certainty to start making progress.
Right.
It's about taking that first step, even if it feels small.
Then there's that amazing story of Maurice and Mary Alice Flint.
Oh, yeah, I love that story.
Who completely turned their lives around through faith.
Right.
They built this incredibly successful business inspired by a single passage from the Bible.
It's such a powerful testament to the transformative power of putting faith into action.
It's like that saying, leap and the net will appear. Sometimes you just have to take that first step of faith.
Right.
And trust that things will work out. Peale even goes so far as to talk about faith as a factor in healing.
And he admits that he was initially skeptical of this idea himself. But after witnessing the effects firsthand, he came to believe in the power of the mind, body, and spirit connection.
He talks about how negative emotions like resentment and hate can actually contribute to illness.
It's like holding on to poison and wondering why you're getting sick.
Exactly. While Peale certainly doesn't discount the importance of medical treatment, he gives some very compelling examples of individuals who found healing through faith. He sees faith as working in conjunction with medicine to promote overall well-being.
It's not an either-or situation. It's about integrating both approaches. For a more holistic view of health.
Peale doesn't stop there, though. He also talks about how faith and positive thinking can lead to a more creative and powerful life in general.
He believes that the root of failure often lies in those negative thought patterns we've been talking about. And by changing those patterns, we can unlock incredible potential for growth.
There's that story of the man who was stuck in this lifelong cycle of failure, and he finally breaks free by shifting his mindset and embracing faith.
It's a great example of how our inner dialogue shapes our reality. We can literally reprogram ourselves for success.
Peale really emphasizes the importance of quieting the mind to allow for inspiration, visualizing achievement, and organizing your life around a spiritual core.
It's about creating a fertile ground for creativity and success to blossom.
And he believes everyone has that potential. It's not just for a select few. It's available to anyone who's willing to put in the effort. Now, Peale introduces a concept that might seem a bit paradoxical: easy power.
Interesting.
He describes it as a state of relaxed effectiveness that comes from a harmonious relationship with God.
He tells a personal story about how he used to struggle with overworking and pushing himself too hard. Then a wise professor taught him a more balanced approach.
I'm always fascinated by these stories where someone learns a valuable lesson from a mentor. What was the professor's advice?
He told Peale to draw strength from God, to practice quietness and meditation, and to shift his focus from anxieties to gratitude and faith. It's a powerful reminder that true power doesn't come from forcing things, but from aligning ourselves with a deeper source of strength. It's not about pushing harder, but about working smarter, so to speak.
That brings to mind that wonderful story about Peale learning to rock from his friend in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a charming illustration of the importance of rest and relaxation, something we often neglect in our pursuit of achievement.
Peale also offers some practical techniques for achieving both physical and mental relaxation, like visualizing the release of tension and practicing deep breathing.
It's like giving yourself permission to slow down, to let go, and to recharge. It's so essential, yet we often resist it.
Absolutely. Peale's whole concept of easy power boils down to a few key principles. Don't overstrain yourself. Practice positive thinking. Be your authentic self. Embrace silence and stillness. And stay in tune with that divine harmony he talks about. It's about finding that sweet spot where effortless action meets effectiveness.
It sounds almost like a state of flow where everything just clicks into place.
Exactly. And Peale believes this state is accessible to anyone who's willing to cultivate the right mindset and connect with that deeper source of strength within.
It's interesting how Peale connects this idea of easy power to the problem of sleeplessness.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't just offer tips for getting a good night's rest. He sees it as a symptom of a larger cultural issue.
He points out how many Americans rely on sleeping pills.
And
he sees this as a sign that we're overstressed and anxious. We've lost touch with that natural rhythm of rest and renewal that's so essential for our well-being.
He talks about how if we're constantly bombarded by worries and fears, it's no wonder we can't even find peace in our sleep.
And this goes back to his emphasis on cultivating faith and a peaceful mind. It's like creating a sanctuary within yourself where you can find refuge from the storms of life.
Peale also emphasizes the importance of really understanding ourselves. We need to go beyond those surface level solutions and dig deeper into the root causes of our anxieties.
He even mentions that his church had psychiatrists on staff. Highlighting the value of incorporating psychological insights along with spiritual guidance. It's about recognizing that our mental and spiritual well-being are interconnected.
It's a holistic approach to healing and growth. Then Peale shifts gears a bit and talks about the importance of being liked. Of cultivating those positive relationships that bring joy and fulfillment to our lives. He uses the example of a young doctor who, despite his professional success, feels a deep longing for connection.
It's a good reminder that success in one area of life doesn't necessarily translate to happiness in other areas.
Right.
Peale stresses the importance of developing those interpersonal skills
Yeah.
and learning to connect with people on a genuine level.
He gives some practical tips for becoming what he calls a comfortable person.
Oh, yeah.
Someone who's easy to be around, someone who puts others at ease.
Right.
He also talks about having a sincere interest in others, going beyond those superficial interactions,
Yeah.
and really trying to understand and appreciate the people in your life.
He tells that charming anecdote about Lowell Thomas winning over a hotel maid with a simple compliment.
Oh, yeah.
It just shows the power of acknowledging and appreciating others, even in those brief, everyday encounters.
It's about making people feel seen and valued. Then Peale goes on to discuss this idea of ego.
Okay.
And how we can unintentionally deflate others without even realizing it. He gives the example of someone dismissing a joke in a group setting.
Yeah, it might seem like a small thing,
Right.
but it can actually have a big impact on the person telling the joke.
Right.
It can make them feel self-conscious and less likely to share in the future.
It's a subtle form of negativity that can chip away at relationships. Peale encourages us to focus on the good in others.
Yes.
And to build them up instead of tearing them down.
He shares his own experience with a mentor who believed in him and gave him the encouragement he needed to succeed.
Right.
It's a reminder of the powerful impact we can have on others simply by offering our support and belief in their abilities.
It's about recognizing the potential in everyone and using our words and actions to nurture that potential. Peale doesn't shy away from difficult topics like heartache and grief.
Right.
He acknowledges that these are painful, inevitable parts of life.
Yeah.
But he offers a very compassionate and practical approach to dealing with them.
He encourages us to allow ourselves to grieve, to process those emotions in a healthy way, rather than suppressing them.
Right.
He also highlights the importance of physical activity as a way to release pent-up energy and emotions.
And he talks about finding comfort in a spiritual understanding of life and death.
Yeah.
He shares his belief in an afterlife and how that brings him peace.
He also shares stories of people who've had near-death experiences or who have witnessed loved ones passing peacefully with a sense of serenity, even joy.
Wow.
It's a powerful reminder that there's more to life than what we can see and touch.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the power of positive thinking, what are some of the key takeaways? What really stands out?
Peale's message is ultimately one of hope and empowerment. He believes that we can overcome challenges, find peace, experience healing, and live more fulfilling lives.
Right.
By tapping into the power of faith and positive thinking.
It's not about ignoring difficulties or pretending everything is perfect.
Right.
It's about developing a mindset that allows us to face those challenges with courage, resilience, and a belief in our own ability to overcome them.
And it's about understanding that faith isn't just a religious concept.
Yeah.
It's a powerful force for positive change in every area of our lives.
Peale reminds us that we have more control over our thoughts and emotions than we often realize. We can choose to focus on the negative, or we can choose to cultivate positivity, gratitude, and faith.
Right.
And those choices have a profound impact on how we experience life.
Remember that great line from Peale? These principles work when worked?
Yes.
It's a call to action, an invitation to put these ideas into practice.
Right.
And see for yourself the transformative power of positive thinking and faith.
So as we close, here's a final thought-provoking question.
Okay.
What area of your life could benefit from applying these principles? What small step can you take today to start cultivating a more positive and empowered mindset?
Remember, even the smallest seed of faith can grow into something extraordinary.
Until next time, keep diving deep and keep believing.